Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me at the back? If you can't hear me, put your hand up. Last night we did a night with Kenny Pride in a restaurant, a cycling team restaurant, where there was a series of hen parties going on at the same time. So we have developed a kind of punk rock approach of shouting about the technicalities of doping, etc. But hopefully tonight it will be more congenial. Now we've actually got a support act tonight. We have a member of the audience who's going to come up and entertain us for 10 minutes. It could be any of you. Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Who could it be? So I'm going to call him up, and he's just ridden in a big endurance race in Morocco. And I thought it'd be a good idea if he comes and talks about it for 5 or 10 minutes while Kenny's getting warmed up downstairs. So let's welcome, by the way, it's a tremendous book, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So let's welcome Eoghan McHugh. Here he is. So all I know is that Eoghan has ridden in, what's it called, the Atlas Mountains race.
The Atlas Mountain race.
And this was last week.
I got back Tuesday.
Do you want to use the microphone?
Got back Tuesday, 3 a.m.
He's an athlete, you see, he's not. You can't expect a raconteur. That's the thing. So you got back, when did you get back?
Tuesday night. Yeah.
So tell us about the race, how long is it, how many people are in it, where to go to and from?
Okay, so first year for the race to be run, the Atlas Mountain Race, organised by a guy named Nelson Tree. If anyone's familiar with TCR, the Transcontinental, he's ridden that a couple of times, done pretty well. He's also probably the only person that I know of who's inflicted pain and damage now on 2 continents to people without actually being charged for war crimes or crimes against humanity. So he's also organised the Silk Road Mountain Race. If anyone's familiar with that. So again, he's known for his real sort of torturous events and everything. And he put together then the Atlas Mountain Race. It was 1,145 kilometers, going from Marrakesh up to just outside of Agadir, and went out up into the high Atlas, the anti-Atlas, and then kicked back out into the lowlands. And yeah, the highest we went then day 1, 2.5 kilometers. We had a 2.5 kilometer climb, which was interesting.
So do you know any of the other competitors? Do you go on your own? You don't have a support team. That's the whole point.
So single stage. Yeah. So when the gun goes off, day number 1, single stage, as fast as you can to the very end. I think there's about 188 riders who were out, and actually some big names. So Christian Mayers, former pro, was there. He was winning that for a little bit of time until Saddlesaurus got the best of him. James Hayden was out as well. So some notable riders were there for sure.
And how well prepared were you? I mean, how many?
It was a difficult one to try and figure out how to actually prepare. So it was all off road. 80% of it was off road. So actually, in terms of preparation, it was one of those things like, what do you do? And even like that day and a half, 2.5 kilometers climb, a lot of that was actually just push the bike. So in terms of prep, I have a reasonable level of fitness from the bike, and then actually I was actually just going to the gym, kind of doing weights, trying to build out the core, build out shoulders and stuff, and getting ready to actually push the bike around Morocco.
So how long were you in proper training? I mean, how long did you step up your training for in advance of this particular challenge?
Can you cut the camera there, Peter? Maybe a week?
No, 1 week's training. So, and you won, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
No, I
didn't even finish. It's a really interesting. The endurance stuff is really interesting. It's not like a sportive where you do need to just focus on one thing, which is just riding a bike. Yeah. You need to focus on like the navigation. You need to focus on your energy and energy management, resupplying, getting more food. And yeah, when you're actually going to stop, how long you're going to stop for, your time management and everything. There's a whole set of skills outside of just riding a bike that are really crucial.
So if you were, who was at the Emily Chapel event? It's going to be no one, isn't it? Oh, a few of you. But so that it's over such a long distance. You have to kind of make your own way. But
Yeah.
But you can pre-plan, can't you?
You can pre-plan,
but you don't when you're on the ground. It all looks different, obviously.
Well, and so I mean, day 2 for me was really difficult. So I think part of the stress of going into the event, no one was sleeping well leading up to it. Day number 1, then we did about 100 miles, 2.5 kilometers climb. Started at 9 in the morning and finished at 2 the next morning. Crashed. I don't know. And
so you were riding for 17 hours, I believe.
I think that might have been a short day. So
this sounds like it is true. Okay.
Yeah.
17 hours. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then so went to bed at 2 in the morning. Was up at 5. Back riding then at 6.
During that day, what is the first time where you think I've bitten off more than I can chew? But obviously you carry on. What point do you do that?
Day 1 I didn't. Day 1 was awesome. I loved it. Loved it. I mean, like, because it was the first time to actually see what we'd gotten involved in.
Yeah.
And we went from the lowlands, which was, you know, the atmosphere and everything, and there was 180 odd riders that were there and just riding out. We had a 7K lead out with the police and everything, so that was fantastic.
So a big crowd there.
No, it was just for safety, just so that we could get out of the city.
Is it a thing in Morocco, or is it just like for
cycling?
Well, this kind of race, is it?
It's well, again, it's the first one for it to be run, but cycling's big. Yeah, there's a really great cycling community in Morocco and then in Marrakesh, and then in particular there was one shop that helped, I think, every rider out in sports and eat like. So when I scratched, I went back to Marrakesh and ended up hanging out with some of the guys for a while, and you know they've got Cannondale bikes. They're affiliated with Cannondale. So there's the 2-time Moroccan mountain cross champion that's there, the Algerian road champion and stuff like that. So yeah, they're in there. They know what they're doing. They do guided tours. They do the whole thing.
So you mentioned that you scratched. Well, maybe we should take the full story of this. So we're doing an event with Eoghan at a future event. I may do a little festival. We'll discuss that later. But maybe so we'll do this we'll talk about this in full. This is a little taster. But can you tell people how they can follow you and see pictures and follow your next adventures? Because I know you've got a couple of things up your sleeve.
Yeah.
So can you just sort of
yeah. So Instagram and everything else is stories from a man and his bike.
Stories from a man and his bike.
Stories from a man and his bike. Yeah, all as one.
Okay. Can you I'll put this on.
Which is pretty easy, I think, to follow along. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, the big goal is to cycle to Singapore. So April 2021, I'm going to start off in Ireland and then cycle across as 10,000 miles to Singapore.
Well, there we go. So you can see that Eoghan is the sort of fella who might end up on Graham Norton doing this exact sort of chat, as you can see.
I'll always remember my roots. The first one was Duncan.
Please come back. Joe Rouse will be coming here, as we established last time. So this was a bit brief. It's left you wanting more, though, hasn't it? It's left you wanting more. Has it left you wanting more?
Of the endurance stuff, I'd love to go back to Morocco.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
And well, we won't do too much of the detail of the race, of how far you got and all that, because that's.
Do you want to do that next time then?
We'll do that next time. Is that good? It's beautiful. So this is Eoghan. He's often here in the Grand Set, and now you'll spot him and go and ask him more about his adventures and follow him online. So let's say thanks to Eoghan. Tonight's warm-up.